Hi, and welcome to this episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty, and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the lands where this conversation took place. Land which was never ceded, land where communities came together to eat seasonally, locally, and without exhausting resources. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and to any First Nations people listening today. Johnny Lee has been the head chef at Green Man's Arms for 5.5 years, bringing creativity and passion to plant-based cooking. His chef journey began at University House at Melbourne Uni, where he completed his apprenticeship and worked for a decade, gaining experience across a variety of cuisines. After stints at RACV fine dining and vegan eateries like the Alley and Serotonin Eatery, he was drawn back to restaurant-style dining, ultimately landing at Green Man's Arms. Johnny takes an innovative approach to plant-based food, reimagining classic dishes while accommodating dietary needs. He credits his mother for sparking his love of food and fosters a collaborative kitchen where his team shares in the creative process. For Johnny, food is deeply personal, a way to evoke memories, bring people together, and create something meaningful. Hi, Johnny. It's Jo Ritty here from Conversation with a Chef. How are you?
Yeah, could be
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for your time today.
others.
So I came into the Green Man's Arms when it first opened, which was quite a few years ago. Yeah, and I actually had a chat to the chef there, but now you've been there for 5.5 years. That's quite a good stint.
Yes, it's been quite a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was really nice.
that's great. Where were you before that?
So like I started off at University House, it's a private club in Melbourne Uni, and I started my apprenticeship there, and then I basically worked there for like maybe 5 years or 4 years and I basically got qualified. And then from there, I worked at Novotel for like a couple of weeks. And then the boss called me back and was like, "Hey, do you want a job? We got a CDP, position for you. So do you want to come back?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll come back for a bit." So then I worked there for like another 3 years. And then, the sous chef left. And then I kind of stepped up and worked and became the sous chef. So I worked there for like another 3 years and then I left again. And then I started working at RACV fine dining in the city. And I worked under James Blight, who was the chef then. And I think he worked in Michelin star restaurants in the UK. And so I worked there for like 7 months. And then the boss called me back again and was like, "Hey, do you want to come back?" So then I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, I'll come back." But I left there. And yeah, I worked there for another 3 years or so.
Wow. Okay.
University House. So in total, it was like almost about 10 years at University House. And kind of the whole time I was there, a close friend of mine who I went to high school with was also working there. So he started like maybe a year after I was. And he worked there the whole time, pretty much since when I left and came back. So I think he was there for about 11 or 12 years.
Yeah, wow. Okay. And what kind of food were you doing there?
So there's like University House is a private club. So it's like for the alumni and from Melbourne Uni and just like the members and stuff. So yeah, we were just like the head chef there. I think we kind of did a bit of everything. So it was like nothing in particular, but it was like a lot of functions. We had a little cafe or like a lunch kind of buffet spread there as well. And we also had like a la carte. And yeah, so it was like honestly like a mix of everything. And we did conferences. So like it was always like super busy, always had to do heaps of different things at once. And it was like, got to learn a lot, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was very, very mix of everything. And yeah, I kind of got to learn, like he would do like all kinds of food, like French or Italian, some Italian and like, Vietnamese or Chinese, like it was all a very mix of foods.
Great. What a great experience. And obviously they really enjoyed you because they keep wanting you to go back.
Yeah. Yeah, the boss was the manager. Yeah, he really was just like, "Hey, come back. I'll have a job for you." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll come back." I'm like, "Oh man, I think I think the second time when I came back, I was like, I'll come back on one condition. And they're like, what? He's like, what? He said, I want a sous vide machine and a vac machine. And then he's like, yes, sure. Yeah, I'll get it for you. I'm like, yes. I come back to because I'm like, I learned all this stuff. Like, I want to bring it to you guys and I want to teach you guys how to do, use it and stuff. I was really interested in that.
Yeah, nice.
That was really cool.
And so when you arrived at the Green Man's Arms, did you have much experience in cooking vegetarian or vegan food?
Yeah, so like I originally started when I was at Melbourne Uni, I started kind of learning a lot more about the dietaries then. So I was trying to really be like aware of like serving vegetarian dishes and vegan, because we used to get a lot of dietaries. So kind of became quite interested then. And then I was like really trying to make it creative for them, and like so they would just have more than the standard what people would normally get. It was like quite boring. So like I like to try and give them dishes that were similar to what they were having on the function menus, as close as I could without and a vegan version. So I was really like trying to push that for them, and it was really like interesting for me. And then I worked at the Alley, which is, I'm not sure if you ever, it was a burger place, a vegan burger place that was a plant-based burger place that was opened up about, I know it's quite a while ago now, and it was on St Kilda Road. And so I worked there for like 3 months, and I learned a lot about vegan, vegan like food and like fast food. It was like fast food, and that was quite interesting. And then from there, I applied for a job at Green Man's Arms, and they said to me, sorry, the head chef has decided to stay on. So yeah, so I said, okay, that's okay. I was like, all right, I'll just I'll look, see what else is out there. And then I saw a cafe job, Serotonin Eatery, and I was like, oh, okay, this place looks cool. It's like healthy food and stuff, it sounds interesting. So then I started working at Serotonin and I stayed there for about 2.5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, and so there I learned a lot about, it was like mostly like healthy eating, and, I was trying to bring like a bit of my restaurant like experience to the cafe food. So I was trying to like, it was all about like, making food look pretty and like nutritious and like healthy. And like, it was also like everything had to look really nice at the same time. So it's like kind of mixing everything all together. And I was also very fast paced. So it was super busy. And yeah, I was just trying to be creative at the same time. So yeah, I put a lot of interesting dishes on there. And it was mostly plant based. It was we did like 90% of it. We had some eggs on the menu, obviously, because of the cafe, and then we had some cheese. But apart from that, like most of it was, and obviously milk as well. But most of it was plant based. And then I learned a lot there over the 2.5 years as well. So as the head chef there. And then from there, I went on to, I kind of was like, I was getting bored of cafe food, but I kind of wanted more. So I missed doing restaurant style dishes and like the dinner. Like I feel like there's food that you can't do for lunch that you can for dinner. And I was just really missing that. So that's why I saw the Green Man's Arms job come up again. And I was like, oh, I'm going to apply for this, I guess. And then that's where I went for it. And then I got the job at time. And that was like 5.5 years ago now.
Yeah, wow. That's good. And
Yeah, see.
are there certain things you've got to consider when you're doing plant-based food that's different to cooking other kinds of with meat?
I think for me, I think my thing is that I want to try and be like quite creative as well. Like I feel like there's a lot of food out there at the moment, and like there's a lot of like plant-based food and like options. So for me, I want to try and do something a little bit different. And I think the point of difference is also like it's plant-based, like it's also healthy, and like where I can, I'll try and like omit certain things like onion and garlic if I can. If it doesn't sacrifice the flavor of the food. And I find ways to like try and incorporate it in other ways. Like, so we use like hing in some dishes, which is kind of like a spice that is like has a very like onion like garlicky smell. And I try and use that a little bit in some of the dishes, and we use like garlic oil, like to finish. So like we have hummus on the menu, and instead of putting garlic in the hummus, we don't put it in there. So it's just like it's completely like no onion, no garlic. And then what we do instead is we just finish it with garlic oil. And then if you have someone with like a garlic allergy or allium allergy, we'll just like use olive oil instead. So we do a lot of stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's just it's a good question.
That was you did answer the question. No, that was perfect. And so where do you get your ideas? Do you is it just from trying out a few things, or do you look at Instagram or cookbooks or
I think a lot of the time, I honestly I get my ideas from everywhere, and sometimes like I get ideas from like, which is funny, like I get ideas from my mum. Like my mum would do something, I'd be like that's really cool, and I'd be like I'm like, oh, I actually want to try and do that in like a restaurant setting. And then I kind of bring it to the restaurant, and then I try it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is going to work. We have to just do it slightly different. And then, yeah. And so I get ideas from like my mom, because she's an amazing cook. And, I also like from my staff, sometimes I talk to them, and I'll be like I try and like let them have a little bit of, creative freedom as well. I like them to like think about like what kind of dishes they want to eat, and so they're like proud of the food that we put up. So I sometimes talk to them and be like, hey, like what's one dish that you really like and you miss, and something that I guess that you're really fond of. And then they'll be like, oh, I really I had a old friend of mine who I used to work with, Liam, and he would say, oh, I really miss like scallops and like blood pudding. I'm like, all right, man. I'm like, let's do that. So they were like, okay. So we started with like king oyster mushrooms. Like, okay, we're gonna cure them with salt, and then we'll turn them into scallops, and then we'll do like a cauliflower puree, and then we'll put some pickled cauliflower, and then we'll make blood pudding out of like black beans and oats, and like we just like make this dish. We're just like, let's recreate it. Let's have some fun with it. Like let's do something that you're proud of and you want to eat. So I kind of get inspiration from like like my staff, and like I work with them on it, and like, yeah, let's do this. Like we'll do this together, and then they're really proud of it. They get really happy, and they're like, they're really motivated. Yeah, I think a lot of inspiration comes from my staff, and as well as myself. Like I like think like, oh, what do I want to eat? Like what's something that I really miss as well? Or what do I think that other people will miss? Like, oh, like that would be amazing to make, a sticky day pudding that's like gluten free and vegan. Like, you just something that you can't really find out there. I'm like, and I feel like things like that really like motivate me to put something like that on the menu. And yeah, I guess it's favorites and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I see on your LinkedIn that you describe yourself as a food enthusiast, and I was going to say where does that come from? But maybe it comes from your mum.
Yeah, so like it definitely does. Like I was literally chatting to my mum about half an hour ago, and I was like, "Oh, mum, I have this podcast. I just want to like, and I always remember when I was a kid, I used to walk around the house, and I think I was about 6 years old, and I used to say to my mum like, "Oh, mum, I have like the taste in my mouth," and she's like, "What do she like, I always had to like be eating some just like obsessive food," and then my mum was like, at one point, mum had to lock the covers because like I just kept wanting to taste something, and I think it got to the point where she was like, "Oh, you can have chewing gum, you can." And it ran out of flavor, which is quite funny. And to this day, she always mentions it to everyone. She's like, "Yeah, I had to lock the cupboards on him. I was going to eat the whole house down."
And at what and at what point did that translate into you thinking about being a chef?
Oh, like honestly, like if I was to tell myself, like 30 years ago, or however long, maybe 20 years ago, that I was going to be a chef, like my old self would be like, no, like there's no way, because like it's so strange. Like I know I always had a love for food, but like I never really like put two and two together. It was like I originally started studying multimedia design. So yeah, and I was like, because I don't know, I was just really creative. I was really interested in computers, and then like, so I started studying that, and then like I had like a bit of a change in my life, and my sister, she passed away. And then kind of from there, like the whole trajectory of my life changed. And I was just like, oh, actually, I don't want to do this anymore. And so I was like, oh, this like thinking about the things I could do. And then I saw an ad for like, oh, apprenticeship. And I was like, okay, and it was in like Melbourne Uni. And I was like, and I called him up and I was like, oh, the guy was like, oh, I'm like, so you want to come in today? I was like, oh, today? It's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So I just turned up and then, I always knew I love food, but I didn't know like to what extent. And then, I guess it's just kind of started from there. And like, I pretty much like, I've been cooking for about 20 years now. And, yeah, I think from there, like I've just been telling a lot of people, I'm like, because lately they're like, oh, when you have a holiday, I'm like, I think the longest amount of time I've had off, like since I started as a chef was like 3 months, like between a job, like that was it. But I've just been like working like from job to job to job to job because like, I don't know, I just, it's always like been interested in food and like I tend to stay at a place a long time, but yeah, just, yeah, I think I just become so immersed in it, like I just love food that much. It's just, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I guess for me, like food is very, um, I feel it's really personal and I think there's just like a lot of memories that come with food, see as a child or like, as an adult as well, like tasting something and like, it just brings up so many fond memories. And I think that's probably part of it. I feel like it's just like when someone like cooks you a meal is like, you feel like, there's like, like at home, especially, like someone cooks you a meal, it's like so much love goes into it. You know what I mean? There's such a huge gesture. Like I cook you this meal and like just to see someone like appreciate it and like to see the look on their face, like that's just so, it kind of that feeling you get is just like, it's like, I feel like, yeah, it's just, you can't, nothing can really replace it, just making someone happy. I feel like, yeah, it's such a thing you can like give to your family and your friends and.
It's so true, so true. And what's a favorite meal memory you have from maybe growing up or from being around? What do you have a favorite meal or a particular memory that sticks out?
Yeah, I think so. I'd say my favorite memory would be like, um, I mean, like, would just be sitting around with the family. We'd be sitting at the table, and the mum would make rice paper rolls for us, and like she wouldn't make them for us, but she'd like put all the ingredients out, set out in the nice, beautiful platter with all the veggies, and like we'd have some meat on the table, but she'd just all the veggies would be just sitting there and then she'd soak the rice paper and then put it on a wet tea towel. And then we would, she'd have all the sauce laid out and then we'd just sit down all together and we'd just, put the rice paper on our plate and we'll make our own rice paper roll from a really young age. And like, we just make them ourselves. And it's like, that was just like, that's like my all time favorite meal. Like I always have this discussion with people. I'd be like, what's the last meal? Like if you had to choose one meal for the rest of your life and that's the only meal you could eat, like what would be that meal? And then they tell me their meal and I'm like, for me, like it's rice paper rolls, like hands down, like there's no way nothing's like, I could eat that for the rest of my life. Like, it's healthy, it's good for you, it's filling, like it's just so many things in it. Like,
It's so great, and I love this idea of all sitting around together and making them. I just recently went to a cooking class at the Brunswick kitchen, and we made rice paper rolls, and she was the teacher was saying to us, it is a really great activity to do with your friends. If you have people around, you don't make them beforehand, you do it together. And I thought, yeah, that's such a nice idea, being involved with the food and chatting, and yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's so beautiful. It's just like, it's just like, communal. You like kind of like help, everyone's like making their own and enjoying the food and, everyone makes them a little bit differently. Like, it's like, yeah, it's really fun as well. Like and it's so light. Like, I feel like you can put anything you want in them and, you eat them and then like, half an hour later, you're like, oh, are you really full? And then half an hour later, you're like, oh, I probably have some more.
Yeah. And it sounds like, your style as a head chef sounds like you're really um, inclusive of your team, and you look to them and include them in the ideas and so on. Was that did that come naturally to you, that leadership role, or did you have to think about how you would go about it?
Um, I definitely kind of manage a way that I thought would be kind of helpful for everyone. Not helpful, but like also like motivating, kind of in a way that I kind of wish that I was mentored, you know. And I felt like I kind of looked at other people's mistakes and was like, okay, like I know how to not run a kitchen, like, and if I want my staff to like, you know, respect me and like, feel like a part of the team, like you need to make sure like, they're, you include them and like, they're proud of the food they do. Like, I like to tell my staff, like, I like to try and coach them in a way that I not just tell them how to, like, why to do something or how to do something, like, not so much how, but like tell them to do something. It's more about explaining why we do it
Yeah.
and why we do things a certain way. And I feel like, that's such an important part of cooking is that, someone can just tell you how to do something all day long, but like if they don't explain to you the reason behind it, then it's just, you're just following an order. Like I like my staff to be more creative and kind of like, I guess, have thoughts like that they can like try and solve something on their own, or like maybe like we can do this, or just like try and like simulate, and themselves and try and be more creative. And I feel like that's a kind of skill that's you need to work on. And, if someone doesn't really try and bring it out of you, you kind of get stuck in this rut of just doing whatever someone tells you to do. Um, yeah, I feel like it's always there in someone. It's just you kind of got to bring it out of them a little bit and just give them a bit of confidence and be like, like we can do this. Like, this is cool. Like, let's, don't be like discouraged. Like, let's try it again and let's do it in a different way. Like, you know, and even myself, like I get discouraged sometimes. Like I make a dish and I'm like, oh, this is like, what is this? Like, you know, and then I might come back to it in like 6 months and I'm like, and I have a different idea and a different approach. I'm like, no, I'm like, this is it. Like, and like, I'm like, yeah, this is really cool. Like, this is really cool now, and yeah, and it just kind of comes together. And sometimes you make a dish and it comes together straight away and you're like, oh, like, it's just, yeah, it's so strange. Like, cooking is just such a strange thing. It's hard to.
Uh, do you get is it stressful in the heat of service, or do you manage that and just and like enjoy that ride?
Yeah, I honestly like, I try to keep the kitchen, like the vibes like pretty relaxed. And it's like, I know that when it's busy, like everyone like works hard, we try and get, trying to work all together as a team. And I found like in a lot of places, like, which is like something that I really disliked is like some kitchens, they tend to like, um, not help out each other. Like I've worked in kitchens before where they don't really help out each other, but like I like it when everyone kind of works together as a team, like you help each other out. And I feel like it makes things less stressful. Um, when everyone's kind of working together. I think it's just, we play music. Sometimes we play a little bit too loud, I think. But we play music, we play fun music and, we cook the food, like the food goes out, like everything's like, everyone's happy, like all the food always looks nice. And like, I feel like part of that is like people being happy in the kitchen. And I feel like, and the customers, like sometimes they see that they see it. Like I've had a customer come over one time and it's like, oh, so you guys just look so happy. Like, like you're having a good time. And I'm like, yeah, we are. Like it's, cooking food, like, everyone's happy. Like what more, what better? Like it's just, I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's good to have, like a peaceful, but yeah, it can be stressful. And like, as long as you're having fun and you're happy, like I feel like it's okay, like you'll get through it. Like it's never that stressful. Like I feel like sometimes my stuff, I get really stressed out and I'm like, it's okay. Like everything's gonna be all right. We're gonna survive, the food's gonna go on task. Like, we don't like people get like my stuff gets stressed out when it's taking longer than 10 minutes. Like this is normal for most places. I'm like, I'm like, it's fine, guys. Like
Yeah.
relax, see.
Yeah. Well, with all that in mind and with your experience in various kitchens, what would your advice be for young people starting out as chefs?
Um, I would say, I think, you know, try to find something that you're really passionate about. Get something that's kind of like unique to you, and then like I guess try and make it your own. I feel like, yeah, I feel like kind of focusing your energy on something like, that you really love and enjoy, like, to do is like something, I feel like that's a really good thing and just kind of try and chase that, but then I guess this could be sometimes hard as well because like, some people aren't sure what they want to do, but like, I guess that's why, you got to try and find your way at the same time. So yeah, I guess, try and find something you really enjoy about us cooking.
Yeah.
And yeah, focus on that. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And are you cooking tonight? Are you in at the pub?
Oh, I managed to. Yeah, no, I managed to get tonight off.
Ah, nice. Wow.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, like my other thing about work is that you need to be happy. You also need a work life balance. So, like, I feel like that's such an important thing about being a chef.
That's right.
Try not to get burnt out. Like don't feel guilty. You hope to have a day off. Like if you're sick, you're sick. Like what can you do? Like don't feel bad about it. Like it's such a yeah. I feel like the environment kind of makes it really hard. And people do feel often guilty when they're sick or they have a day off. So I just like try and reassure them like it's okay. We're allowed to.
Absolutely. That's right. Yeah. So great. Well, enjoy your Saturday night. Thank you. So nice to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for
All right. Take care. Bye.
you too.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with the Chef with Johnny Lee at Green Man's Arms. You can check out all the goodness on Instagram at Green Man's Arms. That's all one word, Green Man's Arms. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm on Instagram at Conversation with the Chef. You can read the chat and become a subscriber at www.conversationwiththechef.com. And of course, you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about my chats because that's still the best way to get the stories out there. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and bon appetit. Easy.